What up, people? Sea of Stars is finally releasing soon on August 29th, and I'm really excited for it. I backed the Kickstarter all the way back in like 2020, and the fact I only have less than a week before I can finally play it on my Switch is incredible. But unlike me, maybe you don't know much about the game or why you should care about it. Well, don't worry, I'm here to help with that. As always, if you're new to the channel, I make videos on single player games with a heavy focus on RPGs. If that's something that interests you and you end up enjoying the video, hit the like button to help with the algorithm. Now, with all that out of the way, here are the top 5 reasons you should be excited for Sea of Stars. The first reason you should be excited for Sea of Stars is because the whole game is pretty much a love letter to all the old RPGs a lot of people grew up playing. Some of the developers have said that Sea of Stars is most influenced by Super Mario RPG, Illusions of Gaia, and probably the biggest influence, Chrono Trigger. Everything down to combat, story, exploration, and music was built with the old 16-bit era in mind, and you can see it when watching or playing the game. And staying on music for a little bit, even some of the music in Sea of Stars is made by legendary composer Yasunori Masuda, who most will probably know for his work on Chrono Trigger and also in the Xenoblade series. As a huge fan of JRPGs and RPGs as a whole, knowing this game was made by diehard fans of the genre makes interest in playing Sea of Stars that much higher. Next up is the people you'll be playing as throughout the game, the characters. Sea of Stars will have 6 playable combat characters, each with their own backstory, personal objectives, playstyle, special skills, and synergies with the rest of the party. The characters we know of right now include Valerie, the Lunar Monk who wields a moonstaff, Zale, the Solar Blade Dancer who naturally fights with a Sunblade, and we have Garl, the Warrior Cook who fights with a Cauldron Lid. Also, in a recent launch trailer, another character was revealed named Sarai, who is a portal assassin. Listen, real quick, if there's one thing you need to know about me, I love assassins. Whether it's television, movies, comics, or video games, the Hitman, Mercenary, and Assassin characters are usually my favorite, and the fact this game has an assassin who can go through freaking portals, like what? You can only use 3 characters at a time, but I can tell you right now who's always going to be one of those 3. But I digress. With us already knowing about 4 characters and still have 2 more to look forward to, with their own backstories, motivations, and playstyles, is something that's going to be really fun to discover. Alright, at number 3 we got combat. Sea of Stars will have the classic turn-based combat that you're used to, but it will have much more than just that. Like I mentioned earlier, this game took a lot of inspiration from classic RPGs, and that inspiration is showcased in the combat. Like in Chrono Trigger, Sea of Stars will have no random encounters, and instead the battles will start right where the interaction begins, as opposed to transitioning to an alternative battle screen. While I don't mind random encounters, probably because I grew up playing a lot of Pokemon, I feel like getting rid of it will add to the immersion of the game, which I'm always a fan of. Also, similar to Super Mario RPG, timed hits will also be a mechanic that's utilized. Every single action can be improved to deal more damage, heal more, or have some sort of additional effect, which is typically done by pressing action right before an action finishes. Zale, Valerie, Garl, and I'm assuming Sarai all do a secondary strike when the timed hit is executed properly during a regular attack, potentially breaking additional lock. Speaking of that, I want to talk about spells, specifically spell locks. Various enemies can begin casting spells which will display both a number of locks and a timer. Each of an enemy's spells has a specific number of locks associated with it, and those locks have icons on them representing the type of damage that must be used to break them. Breaking locks lowers the power of a spell, and breaking all the locks will cancel the spell completely. Breaking locks will grant a significant amount of CP as well. The timer represents how many of the party members' turns must pass before an enemy casts their spell. Because this measures turns, enemies can act in between the party members. CP, which I just mentioned, stands for combo points, and they let you use combined attacks between characters. With a max of 3 available at any given time, CP is earned when party members or enemies take turns, but a significant amount is gained when breaking locks. The way Sea of Stars mixes old school game mechanics with their modern additions and enhancements will make this combat really fun for fans, and I can't wait to try it out for myself. I've always been a big fan of different art styles in games, especially ones involving pixel graphics, which is why the pixel art in Sea of Stars is the next reason to be excited. Over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of amazing RPGs that utilize pixel art. You got Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, Chained Echoes, Katana Zero, Hyper Light Drifter, Live Alive, Eastward, Triangle Strategy, Crosscode. The list literally goes on and on. I think the main reason for this influx of these type of games is the fact that the developers making them all grew up in that old SNES Sega Genesis era and are finally able to make games similar to the ones when they and we were kids. Also, another reason I like this pixel 2D art style is because I think it's perfect for handheld gaming, which leads me to my last reason to be excited, which is the fact that Sea of Stars is multi-platform. Sea of Stars will release on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. Now, I know some of you might be wondering what's to be excited about, and for me it's the fact that this game is releasing on so many consoles day one, and that's probably something that's going to be less and less common moving forward. Between studio acquisitions, timed exclusives, and just regular console exclusives, everyone, no matter what platform you're on, being able to play and enjoy this game is something I think is great. It's this weird level of freedom you have by not having to buy a new console or wait a month or even a year for it to come to the platform you have. You can just play it on whatever you have. And I hope that freedom of choice leads to a lot of people buying Sea of Stars when it releases on all platforms August 29th. And that's all I wanted to talk about today, people. Are you picking up Sea of Stars? Did you back the Kickstarter? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video, and if you're looking for some more videos of mine to watch, click one of the links on the screen. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with the channel. Later.